on Photography is a series of conversations with contemporary image makers, critics, gallery directors, and theoreticians. I'd like to welcome you all to a VASA Gallery Talk. And today we're talking with Livio Senigalies, who's in Milano, Italy, and is a photojournalist for most of his life, I believe. I want to thank you for taking time to talk to us today and share
It's
some.
my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
And I have to question, how are you doing after 2 months of quarantine?
I'm okay. I feel me good at home because during my life I travel a lot, and so I'm used to live in the changes. So
Yeah.
I have no problem to. I am very lucky. I have very comfortable flat. I stay with my family. I can make my job also from home. I have a lot of projects going on, and so it's not a problem. I am full of job.
Well, I've been quarantined in Rome now for
Yeah.
over 2 months, and it's starting to have its effect on my eating habits.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah,
But
yeah.
you're right,
This
you
is
get a lot of work done. Well, how long have you been working in photography?
uh, we we can say about 40 years.
Okay, how did you get into it? I mean, what moved you to do photography?
It was for a chance
Mhm.
because after my military service, I supposed to be a simple factory worker, uh, because my family is very simple family coming from the suburb of Milan, where there are a lot of family had a tradition also to be a worker. And so when I come back from military service, I was a worker, normal life, just survive, and step by step I try to make something interesting in my life, but I have not enough money to to have a good camera and to improve myself in this kind of very hard profession. But it, there is something strange in my life. A friend of mine, it was a photographer, and he asked me to be assistant sometimes to assist him during the weekend or to make some job. So it was just a chance at the beginning. And I worked 3 years with him.
Mhm.
After that, I feel that my field, my feeling is very close to social issue, and I began taking picture about workers, about mafia problem in the south of Italy, and uh, a lot of picture of Italian society.
Well, how did you slide into photojournalism then? Which seems to
Yeah,
be a natural flow from what you were doing.
yeah. After that, I study a lot because I am very simple man, but I am very serious and I want to be professional. So I study a lot. And after that, I have the opportunity to work in a redaction in Rome, and to have how can say, to practice journalism and to have the to be recognized as a professional journalist after 18 months of working in a redaction. I am also a writer, but my media is the photo camera, and so that was my beginning.
Can you remember the first big assignment you had as a photojournalist?
I, I, I was a freelance in all my life. The first assignment it was to cover the Berlin fall of the wall in November '89.
Mhm. And that work is included in your exhibition that is on VASA, which is
Yes,
yeah.
yes. We have a lot of pictures. Yes.
Okay. You put yourself in danger a lot as
Yeah.
a war photographer. That's a
Yeah.
general description, a war photographer.
Mm.
You take a lot of risk and you see a lot of suffering. How do
Yeah.
you balance the emotional connection with the people you're photographing, especially the victims of war,
Mm.
you know, and actually putting yourself in danger? I mean, there's explosives going off, there's bullets. I mean, yeah, it's it's life. But how do you balance that as a photographer?
Yeah. So after this beginning in the social issue, I would like to test me and to make an experience in the East Europe countries, the countries that were under the power of the Russia, the Soviet Union. I was really deeply interested about this subject. So in the middle of the 80s, I succeeded to travel a lot and to live in Moscow, in Bucharest, and in Berlin for a long time, because my way is to uh, be based in a place and to live in a place in a very simple way, in family. Because if you wanted to understand one culture, one society, you have to stay in family. If you are living in a holiday inn, you cannot understand. You have no connection with the normal life, with the social problem, with the problem of the people, and so and also try to understand the culture, to speak the local language. And so step by step, I became an expert of the East countries of when I was young.
Mhm.
In Europe after the 60s, there was a lot of revolutionary ideas and pacifism, to be against war, and these ideas, these ideals affect me a lot. I remember the war, the picture of the war in Vietnam. So my sensibility with this kind of issue um, is connected with my when I was young, this kind of period of my life. I was not looking for war. I am against war, and I can say that the war cut my way. When I was based in Berlin, and after in Moscow, under the push of the 91 and the communist come si dice, crash, no?
Yeah.
Um, I understand that something very important was going on in Europe, after these changes, after the end of the Iron Curtain, and at the beginning of the war in Yugoslavia, I go directly to Zagreb, from Moscow to Zagreb. because when you wanted to understand the reason of a war, the reason of also of hate, you have to stay with people to understand from the beginning what is going on. And so I try uh, to study the history of Yugoslavia. Why this big country that was so united during Tito times. At the end, at the beginning of the 91, they really ate each other, and they divide. Also, one man divide from one husband divide from the wife, because one is Serb and the wife is Croat. It's crazy that the struggle for independence enter also your private life. It was crazy. And if you wanted to understand this kind of civil war, you have to begin from a little story, and to understand how they talk about the past, how they found the roof of their hate. And that I found that the roof of this Balkan War, it was based in the Second World War. So it was very important to understand the history of this land and of this country. Because if you are talking about news, okay, I need the today pictures, 3 pictures to send in the wire. But if I wanted to go deep, and this is my way to understand the history, to go deep in the story, to make a feature story, to make interviews with normal people, or with president, or with victim of massacre, or war criminals. I have to understand the context and also to speak the local language, to understand better, to share emotion, the picture are coming at the end sometimes.
Yeah. Well, again, how do you separate yourself from the emotions of the time? Because you're there during conflict, usually
Mm,
right after conflict, and you see the results of battle, of war, and you also put yourself in danger.
yeah,
How do you separate yourself from the emotions and also the danger?
yeah. I can say that in this way, dear Roberto, I am not so professional. I cannot divide myself so in the right way, and sometimes I cry when I take picture of
Yeah.
civilians massacred by war criminals, or to how to be under shelling for weeks, for years. How can you be divided from emotion? Okay, uh, everything is connected. The fear, the fear help you to understand the context, and help you also to survive sometimes, because the fear give you impression and give you and explain how to move in this kind of fucking situation. If another time to underline, if you are living with people and you are moving with them, you can understand what is going on the field really. If you are staying in a 5-star hotel in a Holiday Inn, you are too far from the people, too far from the action, and my media take me directly very close to the action. People killed, people killing. Sometimes I spend a lot of time with the war criminals, with Arkan, with a lot of very, very famous criminals. Because if you are going on the front line, if you are going to hell, you are living with devils, you know.
Yeah. How did they respond to you as a photographer? You know, you being there, photographing what
Yeah.
they were doing, photographing the results, right in the front line with them. Because I know
Yeah.
even when you traveled with the refugees,
Yeah.
you lived with them as they
Yeah.
traveled, the
For
same
weeks or
conditions.
months.
Yeah. How did they, in the conflict zones, how did those people respond to you?
Yeah. Um, if you have empathy with the others, uh, it helps very much to have a relationship with everyone.
Mhm.
If you have respect with for them that are suffering so much, or they are in action and killing people, but if you are close, come si dice in Italia,
Elbow to
very,
elbow.
very, very close to them, you are living like an animal with them, and so is a problem of feelings. I don't know what it could be really to be a war reporter. I am a reporter. I just uh, close to the action, close to the people, and try to have empathy with them. And this is my way to spend a lot of time with them and to go deep in the story, because there are just a lot of very great photographers that are covering the news all over. And I try to find my enclave, we can say,
Yeah.
to uh, to go deep and to make feature story. And the feature story are really very, very good to explain to the riders, to the world, how is the feeling of the normal people. Because sometimes the mainstream media give you a lot of news, but you cannot understand what is the suffering really. And when the massacre, when there was the massacre in Srebrenica, I was in Srebrenica. You know, when there was the massacre in Kosovo, I was so close with these people fighting and dying. I take very special picture because I was living with them. So this is my uh, particular mood. I suffer a lot. I have a very, I have a lot of wounded in my mind, in my soul. I cannot divide till today with this kind of emotion and tragedies. They are inside me forever. I try to make the best with my pictures as a professional photographer. Uh, I I try to go, come si dice, andare oltre to cross the line and to understand how also the others are living and they are fighting or dying. I try to make a complex um, racconto, reportage, a large reportage, not only by one side, but trying to explain how the people is living and dying in a siege like Sarajevo. I spent 4 months by the Muslim side and 4 months with the Serb side, crossing the river under shooting by sniper. And this is my way. If you want to explain what is a siege, you have to live in a siege.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I noticed in your exhibition with VASA, there's a number of projects you were doing from Cambodia to Congo to the wall coming down in Berlin. And that's what attracted me to your work when I saw it last fall, was the intensity and the closeness that you got to the people you were photographing. And I found it very emotional and not draining, but sad, looking at what the United States did with Agent Orange and napalm and all that on the lives of future children,
Yeah,
and and your work was really moving. And I can imagine in some ways being in Berlin when the wall came down, because I have friends in Berlin, they were there, right?
yeah,
They woke up in the morning and people were cheering and they went outside to see what's happening, and the wall was coming down in a sense, right?
yeah,
And at the same time, I've met people that were snipers in the Serb war,
yeah.
okay, who ran away because they couldn't keep killing people. So I I cannot imagine actually what you were going through, but your work really, I think, is I don't want to use the word wonderful because it's about war, it's about suffering and death, but it's really engaging, and you take the
Yeah,
viewer
yeah.
into that space, you know. Um,
Thanks for your attention, and thanks
yeah.
to invite me to show my picture in Vasa, because I appreciate a lot.
Okay, could you maybe just talk a little bit about your book? I know you just come out with a book on your work.
Yeah.
Um, and it's promoted on VASA, but that shows in the fall of 2020. But the making of the book, why did you make a book?
Mm. The book, it was this kind of book,
Mm,
because I published a lot of book during my career, but especially this memory book
mm,
is very important to me, because I have this kind of trauma inside, and I have to take off this trauma, and especially I am really engaged to talk with young people, and especially student of journalism, how was to work for a long time in this kind of tragedy, very hard condition. This is very important to transmit to the other your experience. Okay, the picture has mm, to tell us without words how is the situation, no?
mm,
But I want also to, I need, like a human being, first of all, not only like a journalist, with my words, how I remember what is behind that picture. Sometimes it takes weeks to reach one fucking place in the middle of the forest in Congo, and you can stay 5 minutes taking 4 pictures, and after that your bodyguards say, Livio, come on, stop to take picture because the guerrillas is coming, and they chop us in a lot of. So it's very hard to explain, but I have still this kind of adrenaline and emotion in my blood, inside me, because you cannot forget this kind of moment. And I was to be in Sarajevo during this massacre, when one mortar bomb hit one open market, and I was 100 meters from this place, and I was one of the first coming. And but I don't want to take just pictures. I try uh, um, to help the wounded people. I try to take people in car going to the hospital. First of all, my reaction is to be a human being in the middle of the story. and to stay in the middle of the story when the story it happens is a privilege.
Yeah.
If you are not engaged, if you are not enough close to these people and to this situation, is not your right work. It's better that you change your work because they also the consequences are also very, very, very hard during the time, and also it's very hard to survive. I spend weeks without water or without food. I use to boil the snow in Sarajevo just to have some water to drink. You can imagine, and that was for 3 years. And 3 years under shelling, without food, at minus 25, sleeping at minus 25, you know, for 3 winters is so hard. And so I think that first there is the man living in this kind of situation, trying to understand the context and the suffering of people. And after that, there are the pictures and your job. Okay, I was really lucky. I was really engaged. I have a lot of assignments. I take some icons of the war in Bosnia, especially. But first of all, I am lucky to be safe and to go now in the schools of journalism to explain to the young journalists how to make this job, this very special job, in the best way.
Yeah. Well, you know, listening to you talk, I mean, it's very emotional, and I could not imagine the impact it's had on your everyday life, even now. But also, I think of photographers in a time period like Susan Meiselas in Nicaragua and El Salvador. And Susan was wounded in one of those violent times. We know Kappa was killed in Nam, and Larry Burroughs was killed. And
Yeah,
other
sure.
journalists have been killed trying to bring those images and stories back to the people, right?
That's what is Roberto, is our life,
Yeah, yeah,
is our job. If you are not ready to be killed like a refugee, if you are staying, if you are living in this kind of hell, it's normal. You have to be prepared that your life is very short, and
yeah.
you don't know if tomorrow you will be alive.
Well,
So you have
yeah,
to live every second, and to is you can understand if you are really made. I can say I don't know the right word in English, but if you are made to make this kind of job, just when you are in the really fucking situation, and try to make your best.
yeah, and stay
There are
alive. Yeah,
nobody can prepare you. There are not school of journalism that can explain to you how is to move in a in a town under shelling, under sniper shooting, and not one day, not just one day, but maybe for years. And
yeah,
that was also, I can say, my sickness, because after 10 years of Balkans, I decided to go in Chechnya, and I spent 3 years in Caucasus, you know, Nagorno-Karabakh, Ingushetia, Beslan, during this attack of the school, uh, and living in Chechnya, it was very, very hard. But it was also similar sometimes to the Balkans, because different people living together for a long, long time during the Soviet Union, and after the fall of communism, they try to find independence, and they speak the same language, but they have different religion. It's like it's very close to the dramatic story of the Balkans. Talking the same language, having the same roof, but having also the different mood and different religion.
Mm.
Is really complex, and this is the reason that I am so close to the people. If you want to understand really what happens in the ground, what happens in a single family, you have to live with them
Yeah.
for a long time and put you at risk, but the risk is a normal situation for a war reporter, or for a reporter that want to be close to the people in these dramatic events.
And the people have to invite you in and welcome you into their homes, into their lives during
Yeah, it
drastic
depends.
times. Yeah.
It depends. Sometimes no. Sometimes tell the rifle and say, if you don't go away, I am going to kill you.
Yeah.
And so I was beaten a lot of time. I was captured a lot of time. But this is a part of my risk. So I spend in prison a lot of time also, because when you are living for months or years in the front line with war criminals, you know
Mm.
too much things, you know, Roberto.
Yeah.
You, so you know also the dirty story,
Mhm.
and sometimes some soldier or security forces can think that you are a spy and not only a photographer. So you are facing a lot of problem.
Yeah.
So you have to manage also in this kind of situation, trying uh, to to survive. I was very, very lucky because maybe is I was so close to be killed many, many times. How to say why I'm here? This is one of my psychological problems.
Yeah.
Why I was not killed with my friend in Kosovo that that fucking day? Why I'm safe and that column of hundred of refugees have been killed by bombs.
Yeah. Those answers we don't have. Those don't have. Well, our time is just about up. Okay. And
Yeah,
I know later on Stefano is going to be doing another interview with you, more around your exhibition. But I do want to thank you again for taking time with us and opening your heart and talking to us about who you are and what you do.
it's
Uh,
my pleasure. I'm really emotional to speak about with you and about my job, because also through VASA I can reach a lot of people, and really it is my pleasure to to spend time with you and to organize this great exhibition. Thank you so much.
well, thank you. Thank you very much.
You know, Roberto, is only my way to make it to move on the ground
Mhm.
was really different from others, because I want to be honest, I want to be clean, and I spend a lot of time by one side and the other. That choice
Yeah.
sometimes it could be really very dangerous, because they know that you are coming from the other side.
Right. And the other side knows that you're going to the other side. And what to,
And if they take, I remember in Chechnya one time, we have been blocked, my driver and translator, we have been blocked one day in a checkpoint. We we crossed 22 checkpoints in a day.
wow, yeah,
You can imagine, and every time worse. And when you are closer and closer and closer, the front line, it becomes stronger and stronger and blah, blah, blah. You need a lot of permission, but they want also some
money.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes you have to put $50 in the passport. You know, I say when they say passport and they open passport, they find $50 is okay. You know,
yeah,
but sometimes
yeah.
I remember one colonel of KGB in Chechnya come out from this kind of big checkpoint and say, "Who is Livio?"
Mm.
And that's me, but he don't. And he said, come to me. I have to speak with you." And he take me inside a tent and take my passport, and the passport, it was full of stamps,
Yeah,
visa, and every kind of visa, Afghanistan, Sudan, every kind of fucking place. And he said, "You know, Livio, you have a very suspicious passport." Very suspicious. And I say, come on, it's my job to travel in this kind of situation. Yes, but I have to make investigation who you are.
Mhm.
And he take me 3 days in prison.
Oh,
Wait. After 3 days, no food, only cigarettes, no food, no water, one coffee, I remember, but very hard, but very, very close to hell. So no normal situation. I was lucky that he don't want to kill me
yeah, yeah.
in a moment, no, shot head and finish, no.
I'm
But he
sure.
wanted
Yeah.
to like a cat with the mouth, no,
Mhm. Well,
to play
yeah, yeah,
sometimes, no, to understand who you are really, why you are here, blah 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 blah, and he said at the end, okay, we make come si dice, investigation about you. We have also internet here.
Mhm.
And compliment for your picture. I saw your your website. That is very interesting. So
Yeah,
with my chief in Moscow, we decide don't kill you, but take your fucking passport and go away. This is the end of your trip.
yeah,
Don't come again in this place. I give you one day to be off of the war area.
yeah,
But for me, it was normal
yeah,
situation every day. Every
yeah,
day it
yeah,
was like that. Okay.
yeah. And I'm sure there's many times you may have thought, this is it. This
And
is the
if
end.
you are going to read my book, you will find also other situation, very hard situation,
Mhm.
but is a surprise for you. And
Okay.
so we will talk again.
Well, when I come to Milano, not only
Yeah,
will
when you
we
come
eat
in
well,
Milano.
but we see, yeah, we spend time together.
Yeah, talking. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
drinking wine.
Lots of wine.